What's up? I know you haven't seen my face in a little bit. It's been a minute. So let me first give you an update on life and what's been going on. And listen, you may hear my son in the background. So if you do, I do apologize prayerfully. He is very faint, but I asked him to shush so mommy could record, but I don't think he's going to shush for us. I started homeschooling my baby boy. So we did not go to public school this time around. We are homeschooling. So with that, there has been a lot of change. But even before that, during the summer, I knew that I was going to homeschool and I was trying to figure out how I was going to juggle all that. So my mind was everywhere. So y'all haven't seen me, but we're back. God has given me specific instructions for Revived Warfare, and I'm trying my hardest to make sure I stick to what he said. And so that's so that we don't get behind on putting out episodes and just with being a better content creator. Although this is considered content, but it's also ministry. But I just want to be better at that. And so I believe God has given me a strategic plan with that. What's up? I'm Nay, because I haven't even told you who I am. But I'm Nay, and this is Revived Warfare. So if you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more content like this. And so the YouTube algorithm would suggest these videos and push it out to other people. Today's episode is titled Do It Afraid. And I personally have heard people say, well, we as Christians, we should not have fear. We should not be afraid. So we shouldn't have to do anything afraid. But truth of the matter is we are human. And we deal with human emotions. And sometimes we experience fear. And I'm going to give you an example from my own life. And prayerfully, it will minister to you in some kind of way to where you can be like, if she did it or if she's doing it afraid, I can too. There's 3 things I want you to get from this video. From this episode, 3 takeaways. The first one is obedience sometimes requires courage. You won't always be comfortable. The second takeaway is delay does not always counsel God's promise or God's plan. And the third takeaway is your perspective changes everything. Okay, so how this applies to me. Like I just told y'all, I'm homeschooling my son. And let me tell you, this decision to homeschool my son, although I knew I had to do it because God allowed me to step back. Okay, so I should probably give a little background on my son if you don't know me. So my son, back in 2017, he experienced a near drowning, and he experienced what's called, I'll probably say it wrong, but anoxic brain injury. So it's like traumatic brain injury. And he had so basically he lost the ability to do everything. That includes tracking. So the way you can follow somebody with your eyes, he lost the ability to track with his eyes. He lost the ability to sit up, to eat, to swallow, to use his hands. He was completely, the doctors thought that he would be completely, I want to make sure I use the right word. I don't want to say vegetable because I think that could be offensive. So they just thought he wouldn't be able to do anything. But we were like, no, Jesus throughout the Bible healed, and he has given us that authority to heal, to cast out demons, to, you know what I'm saying? So we were like, no, we respect the doctors and their professional opinion. We choose to believe what the word says. And so we believed for complete and total healing. So during this time, Keon was 2 at the time. we saw God do like miraculous things. We actually documented it. And because one of the things God said to us was document everything. I'm going to show the world I'm still a healer. So we did. We documented everything. So you see him relearn to swallow. You see him take his first step again. It's just like we literally watched and are watching this miracle unfold, right? So one of the things God told me back in 2020, he said I was instructed to homeschool Keon, right? And for the first year where he was like, I would say he was 4. So 2 years later, I like set up the homeschool space. I got it all together and I started trying to teach him. Actually, he was around 3 when I started trying to teach him, but it was like it was like I didn't have the ability to do it because he didn't seem to be growing or when it comes to the educational things, he didn't seem to be grasping it. So I was getting afraid. So when we sold our home and then we bought a new one, and then when he was 4, I was like, all right, I'm going to try this again. So I'm trying to do everything that I know to do as a mama to help educate my child and to homeschool him. But it seemed like we had gotten nowhere, right? And I was just afraid. I was like, oh my gosh, like if I don't put my son in school, we're going to be so far behind, like he's not going to learn anything. And so I was just afraid. So I put him in school and he did kindergarten 1st through 4th, right? And although he was able to be with the other kids and he got a lot of social interaction. So I did see some growth, but basically 4 years later, I was like, no, this is what happened. This was the turnaround. We had him in different things like Special Olympics and the Miracle League for sports and things. And each year in school, I was able to be on the field with him. So I would be able to help him and with whatever he had to do, whether it was running track, basketball, whatever. Excuse me. Well, this year, I was told that the parents couldn't be on the field. Why, I don't know, because when I looked, like when I went there was like hundreds of people. There were other parents on the field with their kids. And so I was like, why can't I be on the field this year? But I know God was strategic with this because this year I was able to stand back and just watch, right? And when I did that, it scared the crap out of me because what I noticed was this. When the person helping my son, well, they had like little kids help them, kids like their age, peers help them. And what I noticed was he was just, because right now he can't say a lot of words, so he can't express himself. So what would happen was they were just like dragging him across the field, right, to wherever he had to go. Whereas for me, although I would have him by his hands, I would be talking to him. I would be communicating with him. I would be engaging him, right? Also, while sitting there waiting for them to call his name, I was just watching him and I noticed how he was just there. He wasn't the Keon that we have at home. He was just there. He was just spaced out. And I was just like, what? Like, I was like, Keon, like trying to communicate with him. And it was just like a shell of him. Right. And so when I saw that, it scared the crap out of me. I was like, oh my gosh, he's being conditioned, not intentionally. I don't believe it's intentional, but your environment matters. Right. And so I was like, oh my gosh, he's being conditioned to think or to accept this. And I'm going to go ahead and read, because God gave me a warning dream. I don't remember the year he gave me the warning, but I put it in my book. I have my book right here. The book is called Stubborn Faith. It's about his journey. But I want to read the warning to you. But before I read this warning, I am going to tell you, should I read? Okay, I'll read it first. So I'm just going to take my time because I tend to want to rush through, but I'm going to just take my time. Okay, so this is what it says. Whatever chapter this is. That night I had a dream. I was walking down a street and I noticed a little boy floating on the side of a road. He was not dead, just floating down the road. He had on a brown blazer and an orange shirt. He was dressed pretty nicely for a 4 or 5-year-old. I then went into a building, and when I came out, there were people around and an ambulance. The little boy that I had seen in the water was now dead. Immediately, I ran off crying. Now, in this dream, this was not my son. But after I awakened from the dream, I could not understand why I was so emotional about this little boy dying. So I asked God to give me the understanding of the dream, and he did. Brown represents humanity. Orange could be a warning. So although the little boy was floating in the water down the road, he was alive, right? After I went into the building, which was a distraction, me going into the building was a distraction, which I believe was the school. That's what I believe that building represented. So it says, after I went into the building, which was a distraction that got me off the road that I was on. Remember, we were believing for God, stubborn faith. This is what we're not going with any labels. So after which was a distraction that got me off the road I was on, the little boy was dead. Not only was he dead, I was the only one that seemed to be affected by his death, as if I was somehow responsible, which is why in the dream I ran off crying. Okay, so the warning was this. My decision to have Keon tested, because he had to be tested, and then they would have to say, this is what he is and all of that. And what's crazy is every few months I would have to go in for these tests. This is for 4 years while he was in school. And they would tell me what he was and what he wouldn't do, what he would never do, and and they would just so many labels, right? This warning, the warning was this. My decision to have Keon tested and possibly labeled and placed in special education could, I would say, I'm going to say could, I wrote would, kill him spiritually. It would kill everything God was doing on our behalf for Keon in his total healing. Although we are not able to see his complete healing because he seemed to be in a bad situation, the little boy going down the water on the side of the road, he was not dead. My actions could cause death, the death of his total healing. The interpretation was all I needed. Okay, so I'll stop. I'll stop there. During the time when I was trying to educate him and doing it on my own before I put him into school, and I got afraid, like, he's not learning. Well, after experiencing what I experienced at the Special Olympics, and I knew I had to homeschool him, first I'll say this. When I decided to put him in school, I was like, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I did not understand the full meaning of the dream. Maybe I got it wrong because clearly I'm not helping my son, right? So I put him in a school. I was like, man, I probably, if I got it wrong, I got it wrong. I'm like, I know I put it in the book and people have read this book, but maybe I got it wrong. 4 years later, after realizing I've basically wasted 4 years, I realized I didn't get it wrong, right? And so now I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to homeschool him. I got to figure out how to get him social interaction. And I'm like, I'm just afraid because I'm like, now I have to do 4 years later what I was supposed to do 4 years ago. I was supposed to have already faced this fear, but I was afraid. And so now I'm in the place where, well, not now because we're like almost a month in, but when I first started, I was crying. There was so much anxiety. I was like, God, I'm not I'm not equipped to do this. I can't do this. And I was just like, so many nights I was just crying and afraid because I'm like, I can't do this. But let me tell you, I did it afraid. I'm doing it afraid. And God, I'm just watching God heal my son. One of the things we were told, and they said it, oh gosh, I heard it so much. They said, oh, he'll never write. He'll never, let's just accept he'll never be able to write. And there was one time I didn't say, oh, he will. But the last time I felt like God was dealing with me, he was like, you better counteract what the enemy is saying. And so I was like, oh, he will. Oh, he will. And y'all, he is. We are learning. This is him. Can you go sit down until I finish? All right, I'm almost done. All right, I'm almost done. All right, go sit down. I'm almost done. He could not do this. I'm going to say 2 months ago. He is able to, before all he could do was scribble. That's it. But now he is able to trace his name. And it's not super neat, but you can tell it's his name. He's able to trace his name. He's able to make the letter T by himself. The letter O. We're doing things that was said he would never do. But why? Because I decided to do it afraid. Delayed, but I'm doing it. So I want your takeaway to be obedience requires courage, and it won't always be comfortable. It took courage for me to do it, even though I knew I wasn't equipped. That's the word. I've been trying to find that word. Even though I knew I wasn't equipped to do it, God is equipping me, and He's connecting me with people, a whole community of people that homeschool their children. Delay does not always cancel out God's plans and God's promises. I wish I was obedient 4 years ago. But I thank God for His mercy and His grace. Because like Peter, I took my eyes off of Jesus and I looked at the storm and I got afraid and we sank. But I thank God for His redeeming power. And lastly, your perspective changes everything. So get your eyes off of what you're seeing, off of everything that is fearful and frightening, and put your eyes on Jesus and what He's telling you can do, and just do it. And so that's it for this episode. I pray that it blesses you. I pray that you do what seems hard to do. Do it afraid. All right? You have the most amazing day. Jesus loves you. God bless you, and bye.